Are you a sugar burner or a fat burner? Do you constantly snack throughout the day? Have to eat every few hours to maintain energy? Get headaches when you're hungry? Feel shaky if you miss a meal? Unfortunately, these are all signs that you are a sugar burner. And you're not alone. Due to our modern food environment, most people nowadays, their bodies are used to burning sugar for energy, and they're not efficient at burning fat. And another one of the side effects of not burning fat efficiently is it's difficult to lose weight. So how can we become more efficient at burning fat? That's what we're going to talk about today. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Kate. I'm a certified health and nutrition coach. I post videos twice a week here on YouTube talking all things insulin resistance, weight loss, sleep, and more. So if you're ready to take control of your metabolic health, make sure to click that subscribe button. And you can also find me on TikTok and Instagram, where I share new posts every single day. Metabolic flexibility is the ability to switch between burning carbs for energy and fat for energy seamlessly. This means that if you don't eat for several hours, you won't have a huge crash in energy because your body is able to tap into your fat stores. And on the flip side, this also means that your body is able to utilize carbohydrates for energy when it needs them, such as for a hard workout. The problem is that most people nowadays have poor metabolic flexibility. As humans, we have the ability to use different fuel sources. Glucose is the sugar in our blood and is a source of energy for our cells. When we eat foods that contain carbohydrates, those carbohydrates are broken down into glucose and it enters our bloodstream. This applies for both simple and complex carbohydrates. Both are broken down into glucose or sugar, but the rate at which they're broken down may differ. The glucose is then moved from the bloodstream to our cells for energy. But food isn't the only way that our bodies obtain glucose. Our bodies can also make it through a process known as gluconeogenesis. By breaking down other compounds such as lactate and amino acids, our bodies can make enough glucose for our needs. If you've ever worn a continuous glucose monitor or even just tested your glucose before and after a hard workout, for example, you might have noticed a rise in your blood sugar despite not eating anything. And this is gluconeogenesis at work. Your body needed glucose to fuel that workout, so it created it. The second main energy source that our bodies can utilize is fat. This is both dietary and stored body fat. Now, using fat for energy occurs through a completely different pathway than when our bodies use glucose for energy. When we eat foods that contain fat, the fat is broken down into fatty acids. It enters the bloodstream and can be used for energy by our cells. The main difference here is that fat takes longer to break down and process than carbohydrates do. So this means you're not going to experience that immediate burst in energy that you would if you consumed a food high in simple carbohydrates, for example. But even though it's not quick energy, it's longer lasting and more consistent. Because carbs are a faster energy source, your body is always going to use them first when they're available. But this doesn't necessarily mean that they are the best option. For certain situations, yes, such as fueling an intense workout. In these situations, you want that quick burst in energy. But for day-to-day life, for anyone trying to lose weight, and for the everyday exerciser, fat is a better source of energy. Yes, simple carbohydrates provide quick energy, but it's short-lived. So when you have poor metabolic flexibility, basically what's happened is your body has gotten so used to using carbohydrates and glucose for energy, and it can't really tap into using fat for energy. So when there's no excess glucose available in your bloodstream, or if your cells have lost the ability to use glucose, which we will talk more about in a second, this is when you're going to get the side effects that we listed before. You will have an energy crash, maybe get a headache, you're going to have trouble focusing, and you might even get hangry. And you won't be able to feel better until you eat. Poor metabolic flexibility is linked to insulin resistance, also known as metabolic syndrome. And this makes sense. When you are insulin resistant, your cells are not responding to glucose the way that they should. So instead of taking the glucose out of the bloodstream and using it for energy, the cells resist it. And this leads to many of the symptoms that people who are metabolically inflexible suffer with. For example, you might have just finished a meal and still be hungry or be craving dessert. This is because your cells are not using blood sugar efficiently. There's adequate energy available, but they can't access it. And on top of that, you are not able to use stored fat for energy because when blood sugar is high, insulin is high, and high insulin stops fat burning. So by now, you might be starting to understand why it's not optimal to rely only on glucose for energy. But how can we increase metabolic flexibility? Here is 5 ways to do that. Number 1, shorten your feeding window. What do I mean by this? Well, our bodies are always in one of 2 states, a fed state or a fasted state. After we eat, we're going to be in a fed state. Fat burning is on hold and fat storing goes up. But once our body has completely digested and processed our last meal, we're in a fasted state and our bodies go into fat burning mode instead. If you are eating every few hours from the moment you wake up until you go to bed, then your body never has a chance to enter the fasted state. And you're going to be using mainly glucose for energy the entire day, which leads you to have poor metabolic flexibility. The more time you can spend in a fasted state, the more your body will adjust to burning fat for energy and the more metabolically flexible you'll become. So this is sometimes known as intermittent fasting, and I promise you it doesn't have to be as intense as some people make it out to be. Let's say you wake up at 6 a.m., you have breakfast straight away, and then you eat all throughout the day, and before you go to bed at 10 p.m., you have a snack. Your feeding window is going to be 16 hours, and your fasting window is only going to be 8 hours. So you want to shorten your feeding window and extend your fasting window. This can mean not having breakfast until 8 or 9, or eating dinner at 6 p.m. and not eating anything as a snack after. If you can get your feeding window down to anywhere between 8 to 12 hours, this is going to significantly help your metabolic flexibility. And this doesn't have to be drastic. Start by just making 1-hour changes and go from there. Number 2, stop snacking. This ties in with the last tip. Stop snacking in between your meals. This is just about the worst thing you can do if you're trying to improve your metabolic flexibility and your health in general, to be honest. Every time you eat, blood sugar goes up, insulin goes up, and you're going to be in a fed state. Now, if you continue to eat every couple of hours, blood sugar and insulin don't have a chance to come back down to baseline. So you're constantly going to be burning glucose throughout the day and never burning fat. I recommend eating 2 to 3 big meals with no snacks in between. This works well for most of my clients. Number 3, prioritize sleep. Getting proper sleep is extremely important for improving metabolic flexibility. Even if we just have one night of poor sleep, the following day, hormones that impact our metabolism are thrown out of whack. Our insulin is elevated, putting us in this fat storing mode, which of course, again, not ideal for building metabolic flexibility. Now, my number 1 tip for improving sleep is to manage your light exposure. So this means exposing yourself to sunlight in the morning and then blocking light after sunset. And a good way to do this is with blue light blocking glasses because light is a key indicator for circadian rhythm. Exposing and limiting exposure at the right times of day helps keep our bodies in sync and we can sleep better. I'm going to put the link for these blue light blocking glasses that I've been using for years in the description box down below. I recommend these ones and not going with a cheaper option because a lot of the cheaper ones, they don't actually block the correct type of light. They just have orange lenses, so you think they're doing something, but they're really not. These ones from Bon Charge, which I use and absolutely love, they have been lab tested, and I do have a promo code, which I will also put in the description box down below. Number 4, do low intensity aerobic exercise. When we do low intensity aerobic exercise, our bodies are using mainly fat to fuel these workouts. This means walking, jogging, swimming, or cycling. And keeping the intensity low here is key. You shouldn't feel out of breath. you should be able to talk comfortably through the entire workout. If you're not able to talk, if you're breathing heavily, the intensity is too high. And that is a sign that your body has switched to using glucose to fuel that workout instead of fat. And number 5, eat a low carb diet. This is effective because remember that carbohydrates are what is broken down into glucose. When carbs in the diet are low, the body is burning mainly fat for energy. By reducing carbs and focusing your meals around protein and fat, your body will quickly be forced to adapt to using fat for energy. And the longer you eat a low carb diet, the easier it becomes for your body to switch between burning fat and carbs for energy. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for you today. Let me know in the comment section down below if you think you are a sugar burner or a carb burner and what signs are making you think that. I love chatting with you guys in the comment section, so even if you just want to say hey, I really appreciate it. If you did enjoy this video, you might also enjoy my video on if carbohydrates are bad for weight loss. You can check it out here. If you want to catch up on my most recent upload, you can find it here. And if you want to check out my coaching programs, including my 7-day keto crash course and also my 7-day insulin resistance masterclass, you can find those here. Thanks guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.